Okay, so I am in week 7 of the Artist's Way. This week was really hard because I was traveling and like didn't really have my usual sense of routine, and so I had skipped my artist date um, for 3 days, and then at the beginning of my trip I was sick. I had a really high fever in bed, so I just hardly did anything. And it wasn't really until I got back home that I was like, wow, I feel like my routine just flew out the window. So that was, I think, just a really nice lesson to reflect on. But anywho, okay, I don't know what sketchbook I'm in. I think I finished this one. Okay, so I'm on Artist Way week 7. I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, recovering a sense of connection. Okay, so these were some things that I had written out from the book that really stuck out to me. So the first was listening. While you may have a plan, you must then surrender to the plan's own plan. The birds. Expect the universe to support your dream. It will. Perfectionism has nothing to do with getting it right. It is a refusal to let yourself move ahead. It is a loop that gets you stuck in the details and you lose sight of the whole. Do not fear mistakes. There are none. Miles Davis. Yeah, just very, very true. I think that I've always had a plan or a vision of how I had seen my life. And when I really, really focus on it, it doesn't really happen. And then once I actually, let go and start just living, eventually it does happen, but not always in the way that I expect, right? I'll get there, but it probably took a bit of pain or loss to get there. Or maybe it came through this really unexpected way. And so I see that theme occurring throughout many, many different instances in my life. And I think that I'm just kind of at a point where I'm like, hey, I'm letting go, wherever I go is wherever I have to go. And I have a lot of peace in that. Okay, so then there was, if I didn't have to do it perfectly, I would try. And then I had a list of things. So I wrote writing, calligraphy, modeling, horse riding, jewelry making, swimming, painting 20 feet wide, mural painting, opening and designing a cafe, playing soccer on the beach, writing and directing a film, writing a book, opening a foundation to help children, being a witch, and snowboarding. I'm not very good at snowboarding. I did grow up in Minnesota, and I just did not have very good experiences in the snow. But if I didn't have to do it perfectly, I would definitely try it again. And then she had written about jealousy and envy. And I wrote down my jealousy had actually been a mask for my fear of doing something I really wanted to do, but was not yet brave enough to take action forward. Jealousy is a mask for fear, fear that we aren't able to get what we want. Yeah. And then she had us do a jealousy map of an exercise as to who we're jealous of, why we're jealous of them, and then what the action and antidote is. And I think that there were some really interesting people that came up, which I'm not going to get into the details of who. But the why was really all based around independence and being self-sustainable, which is still independence, and having a really strong sense of community / purpose. And I think that I have a really strong sense of purpose, but I am I should say I used to be very selective as to who I actually let into my circle and into my life. And not to say that now I'm you know what I mean? But I definitely have felt a really big change ever since moving to Brazil and being around my family and actually like talking to more people. Um, and like getting out there more. And I guess even during my vacation, I felt like a little social butterfly again. And it had reminded me of when I was in my early 20s, I had traveled around like the world. And um, I just really felt like this social butterfly, you know, like every single moment was a new opportunity. Or if I was sitting in a cafe and there was someone next to me, I just like wanted to know, hey, like, what's going on? What are you doing today? Like, what are you up to? You know, or like, tell me about your life. And just to hear people and like connect with people. And I think that over the years, I just kind of went inward and inward and inward and definitely closed myself off to a lot of people and a lot of opportunities just because I was like one really really focused on my vision of being an artist. Definitely turned into like a little hermit, and two, I think just from so much pain in my life, like so much pain and hurt, I had kind of learned that other people are not safe and I'm only safe when I'm alone, which ties into hyper independence. um, so it was really interesting that that's kind of what came up. And then the action or antidote to my jealousy map was really to balance between having that connection with self and that trust in self that I am capable of providing safety and nourishment for myself, but also I am I am capable of, you know, creating the life that I desire, which includes loving, joyous, supportive friendships and community. Um, so yeah, that was cool. Then, okay, archaeology and exercise. Then she had us write, or us had me write out the sentences like as a kid, right? And you had to write out as quickly as you could uh, whatever came to mind. So this is what I had. Number one, as a kid, I missed the chance to play. As a kid, I lacked emotional support. As a kid, I could have used an emotionally intelligent adult. As a kid, I dreamed of being an artist and a rock star. As a kid, I wanted a white horse. In my house, we never had enough peace. As a kid, I needed more love, support, and care. I am sorry that I will never again see the old version of me before 30. For years, I have missed and wondered about life in Brazil. I beat myself up about the loss of my innocence. Then we had positive stock. So same thing. It was like a series of sentences, and then I had to put in the text, fill in the blank with the first thing that came to mind. So I have a loyal friend in my current self. One thing I like about my town is the red earth. I think I have nice eyes. Writing my morning pages has shown me I can be disciplined and have a routine. I am taking a greater interest in using my voice. I believe I'm getting better at showing up for myself. My artist has started to pay more attention to my intuition. My self care is washing my hair and looking in my eyes in the mirror. I've been doing some mirror work. I feel more free. Possibly my creativity is uncovered. And then we had to do some tasks, right? So I had to write down treating myself like a precious object will make me strong. And then I like wrote it out in calligraphy and made it my background on my phone. Listen to one side of an album and doodle. I listened to Miles Davis. And then, wait, hold on. What are the other tasks? 'Cause I'm reading in my sketchbook and I didn't write down what my tasks were. Okay. Okay, so then she said, take yourself to a sacred place, a church, synagogue, library, grove of trees, and allow yourself to savor the silence and healing solitude. Each of us has a personal idea of what sacred space is. For me, a large clock store or a great aquarium store can engender a sense of timeless wonder. So I went to the bookstore. I was actually in Rio, and there was this like famous bookstore that's very old, and I had gone there. Uh, and I like put on my beautiful new dress and just like wandered the city And it was actually nearby where I had stayed. And then, yeah, I just kind of like went inside. It was beautiful, beautiful. It's like a really long space, also really high. And then up top, they had a cafe, and you could like bring your books up there and read. So that was really good. And then, so number four, create a wonderful smell in your house. I got some new incense. Um, I got bay leaf and another one that I can't remember. It'll come to me later, but I got two different incense. Okay, so wear your favorite item of clothing for no special occasion. That was my new dress. That was my new dress. Buy yourself one wonderful pair of socks or gloves or something, a wonderful pair of something. And so I was, on vacation and I was like, what am I going to buy? And as I was like reading this, I had left and I was like, walking around. And as I left, there was a little market just kind of set up. And I thought, let me just like go in and see. And so I had bought a cute like workout set, which is technically a pair. It is a pair, right? Like it's a set. So it's like shorts and a little top, super cute. And I ended up using it to go hiking a few days later. So that was really nice. And then seven, collage. Okay, I did collage, and there's like some really interesting things that come up when I collage. Um, I don't know, they all kind of end up as like self portraits, which is really interesting. And the time goes by so fast. Like, my camera died, so I'm on my phone. Um, So, what was I saying? Oh, yes. They all kind of end up as self portraits, which is really interesting. And then there's these common themes that keep kind of showing up around long hair, a bowl, and elements, natural elements like a lot of earth, water, fire, air, and like some of the words that I had chosen that were just like happened to show up in a magazine were like, abundance, health, self love, things like that. And hi now, hello, and yeah, just I love collaging. I love collaging. Okay, anyways, then number 8, quickly list 5 favorite films. Where are my films? I didn't write my films. I think they're in my other sketchbook. Okay, some of my favorite films. Let me think. I just love animations. Okay, hold on. First, I love Inception. I love I Origins. I Origins is ahead of its time. Okay, I always say this, and it's a movie that I think it came out in like 2013, but it is so good. I Origins. It's about like reincarnation, and I just absolutely adore it. Okay, then I love animations. Anything like Miyazaki films, adore. Ponyo, absolutely love Ponyo. There was a summer that I just like only watched Ponyo as a teenager and ate Nutella sandwiches and did nothing else besides tan. But like that was my entire summer. And then okay, so those 4 movies. Okay, my other favorite movie would probably be City of God. Okay, number 9. My favorite topics to read about: murder. I love murder mysteries so much, or like detective books like Nancy Drew, or any kind of like mystery. I do like romance books, but they have to be like mentally engaging. I'm not so much into like romantic comedy type of things. I'm just more of like a romantic. Um, I do also really like self-help books or anything about like personal growth or like finance, stuff like that. And then um any kind of like smut. Okay. Number 9. Oh no, that was number 9. Number 10. Okay, and then I had to give my collage a place of honor, which I actually forgot to do. So I'm gonna put it in a secret place. Okay, awesome. And then check in. How many days did I do my morning pages? I did my morning pages like 3 days this week. I missed quite a few days. Have you allowed yourself to daydream a few creative risks? Yes. What did I do? Oh, I started painting. I started painting. And I actually have quite a few like different paintings going on right now, which is really nice because I realized I haven't like painted in close to a year, which is insane. Like I didn't really paint in Mexico, and then it took me a while when I got here to feel like I was making something from my heart. But I think that all of the changes that I've been going through recently, and also through the help of this book, I kind of tap into this new energy and I feel very invigorated. So I've been like waking up really early and painting, and then painting before I go to sleep, and my day looks very, very different and my routine looks very different, but it's okay. Like I'm not really in a rush anymore. Yeah. Are you coddling your artist child with childhood loves? Yeah. I had planted some seeds a couple weeks ago. I've been like watering them, and every day I wake up and I like have my tea in the morning and I'm like looking at my little plants to see if they're growing, and all of them have sprouted besides the asparagus. The asparagus is taking a really long time. And the actual seed of the asparagus was like one large ball rather than, all of these little tiny seeds that are like microscopic. It was one really big ball. And so I'm thinking like maybe it just needs more energy than the others, because when they're little they just kind of like shoot out of the ground. But yeah, I had planted chamomile, carrots, asparagus, 2 different types of lettuce, biquinho, which is like a little Brazilian pepper that looks like a Hershey's Kiss, a beijinho. Beijo is Portuguese for kiss. But yeah, every day I just kind of wake up and look at my little plants and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, and then there was a moment where like this ties in with number 2, which is my artist date. So I had actually arranged for a tour guide in Rio to take me to the park, nature park, to the forest. There we go. Oh my god, it was so incredible. So okay, I don't even know where to start. It was so much fun. We went to the Tijuca forest, and it had like all of these different waterfalls and like trails, and the trail started off super easy, like flat, it just seemed like we were on a sidewalk, like a dirt sidewalk. It was really flat. And then we had like gone through some like different trails that were kind of smaller and tighter, but all like very chill. And then he had told me, and we had seen these like beautiful waterfalls and everything, and he was like, oh, I know of these other waterfalls, like these are all very popular and well known, but I know of other ones that are a bit hidden, but we have to go up the mountain if you want to do it. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we went up. Okay, we did go up, and there was like this moment where there was 2 rock walls, okay, that kind of like came into each other, and it was maybe like 15 feet up in the air, like 15-20 feet high, and with a rope, okay, and you had to hold onto the rope and put your feet on the rock and just like climb yourself up. And I was like, oh, but I did it. And then there was another part where there was this like really slick rock that was like angled, and it was all wet, and there was a chain connected into the rock, and you had to hold on to the chain and like walk across it, and it was like all wet, so it was super slippery. I was scared, but I did it, and it was really fun. And then we went to all these different like waterfalls and swam in them, and I like went under the water, and it like cleansed my spirit. And he brought me to a cave that was like this tiny little opening that you had to sneak into, and then inside was pitch black minus like a sliver of light that was just coming through like a beam. And so interesting because these were all types of images that I actually had put on my like image board weeks ago using this book. I remember I had chosen an image of like a literal cave with like a beam of light coming through, and that, as soon as I walked in, I thought of that, and I thought, oh man, like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. But the last waterfall that we went to, there was even like, it was a really secluded, and there was like little fish in the water, and I think that they were maybe so used to like not seeing people or something, and so I went and just like scooped it up, and I held this little fish, and there was a little part of me that was just so like, little Julia was like, you know. And anywho, then we swam there, and he was like, okay, let's go to the next one before we get cold, like it's just right there, come on, like get your stuff. And so we like put all our stuff in our backpack, didn't even put our shoes on, and we're like climbing through the forest, just like I'm just in my bikini, you know what I mean? And it was so like barefoot, and I just had all these memories come back of when I was little in Brazil, and like my cousin and I would just be, you know, playing in the water, like playing in the lagoon, and like barefoot and running around, and it was so much fun. Like there was a moment that was like kind of steep and literally on like my hands and knees, just like, you know, climbing through, and oh, it was just so invigorating. It, yeah, I'm just so grateful for that moment. It was so wonderful, just very freeing. And then did I do my artist date? So I guess technically that was my artist date, but then I did also go to the library, which was my artist date. Um, and I had found these books that were from artists that I had never even heard of. And interesting that they were like female Brazilian artists that did either ceramics or stone carving. And their work was so interesting, like very minimalistic, but I felt super drawn to it. And so I had like read about them and like done some sketches on their work, and just for like my own studies in my journal. So that was really nice. And I had a cup of chamomile tea because I had like lost my voice that day and just like needed some solitude. So did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? What did I experience this week? I think there was a lot, but I just can't remember anything right now. I remember that what did I do? I went to the beach. Did anything happen at the beach? No. Oh, there was a little synchronicity. Is it? Yeah, I'll say it is. I was at home, or like at the Airbnb in Rio, and about to head out. And I was like, oh, should I go to the beach? And then I was like, no, because by the time I go to the beach, the sun's gonna go down, and then I didn't really want to be outside, like near the beach at night. And so I was thinking of all that, and then the power goes out. And I look, and it's like there's no power at all in the apartment. And then I look out the window, and I see all the power go out in the city. I'm like, what is happening? And I thought, well, you know, I might as well just stay put because the elevator's out. Like, just gonna wait. And I was like on one of the higher floors of the building. And so then I kind of waited an hour or so, the power came back, and then I went outside, and it was like this unbelievable wind, and I felt like I was in Chicago. It was so strong. And so I was like gonna go out to eat at this pizza shop, but then they were on a patio, and they were like, we're not gonna open for a while because the storm is like we need to clean up this mess. And I was like, okay, no worries. So I ended up going to this little shopping center instead, and I found a pizza place that was up top, and it was like these beautiful bay windows, like they're not bay windows, like floor to ceiling windows, okay, in this restaurant. And I ordered handmade pizza, and I could see like, you know, Sugarloaf Mountain, I could see the beach, I could see like everything, the ocean, and it was at night, and it was a full moon. And I just like sat under the full moon and ate my pizza, and I just like wanted to cry a little bit. I just felt so, I felt so grateful. Like I just felt so, I'm even gonna cry right now. I just feel so grateful. Like it was in that moment that I was like, I am so proud of myself. Like I am so proud of myself for getting myself out and here, you know? Like I think that the life I was living before was just one where I was like pulling all of the weight and hoping to like get there together. And I just knew like my person would just never put me in that position. Like my person would never put me in the position of having to hold all of the weight. And so I as myself today was just really proud and grateful for my past self for like recognizing that and breaking that pattern, and choosing differently. And it was just something about like sitting under the full moon, eating handmade pizza in Rio. I just was like so proud of myself. And there's so much more to come. Like there's so much more to come. But yeah, just very grateful. And then, were there any other issues that week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. I think that when it comes to like issues, I did find myself getting a bit annoyed by people this week, and then I just kind of thought like, well, hold on. It actually has nothing to do with them. Like these people are just a reflection of a part of myself or a reflection of myself. So rather than like feeding into that annoyance and, you know, I decided to be a bit more curious and be like, well, what is it here that's actually annoying me, you know, about myself. Like, for example, there was someone like on the beach that kept just like talking a lot, and I had gone to like read and, you know, eat my chips and like have a chill moment, and he was talking like absolute nonsense, and I'm saying like political nonsense, okay? And I just kind of had to sit with that and be like, well, you know, I'm annoyed, but am I annoyed that he's speaking political nonsense, or am I annoyed that he's actually feels open enough to like share his opinion? And in what ways am I silencing myself? So that was good. I kind of had to sit with that for a moment and reassess. And then I just kind of passed, you know, I just kind of like, as soon as I had made that connection and I'm like, oh, these are specific ways in which I am silencing myself, so let's work on it. I just like didn't hear him anymore. You know, I'm sure he was still talking, but I think I just like kind of shifted and I just didn't hear him anymore. So that was cool. All right, then week 8, recovering a sense of strength. All right. Well, oh, there was one more thing. I did read my letter. So it says open July 4th, 2026. I wrote this, I think it was in week 1. One of the first couple weeks in the book, I had read this, and I like, okay, I'm gonna read it again, but I remember that this, okay, hold on, I'm not gonna read it to the camera because it's like so, it's so angry, it's oh my god, I'm tearing up, it's so angry, oh man, but it was, I can't even talk straight. It was a letter as if I was a lawyer on behalf of my client, who is me, right? Like my wronged self, to someone who had hurt me. And I just like, I find it so I find it so funny. I find it hilarious because oh man, like since I like sat with plant medicine, so much of my so much of my life has changed and so much of my perspective has changed that this just like oh man, it just makes me crack up. But holy shit, I was carrying so much anger, like like so much anger. It's hilarious. Um, oh my god. So yeah, it's just funny because I see this letter more as like a letter to myself and not so much to the person who had hurt me. Um, and yeah, so it was just good. It was just a nice like maybe one day I'll read the letter, but not today. Um, it was just good because it made me like see how much I had grown, but also see how much weight I was carrying in my heart. So yeah, just good. Anywho, all right. So that was week 7. I will see you next week.